Welcome to the Esthetician Coach Podcast, a podcast for estheticians that are ready to grow and scale their business to the next level. I'm your host and esthetician coach, Amber Boone. Join me each week for education, inspiration, and guided support to help you create a successful business and career on your terms. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Esthetician Coach Podcast. Today, we are talking about being a medical esthetician. Is it a made-up title? Is it marketing? Is there such a thing as a medical esthetician? I'm going to share more on that with you today. And I'm also going to talk about things that you can do if you are looking to get into the medical aesthetics industry. There is a lot of controversy and miscommunication on this topic, so I thought it would be a good one for us to discuss. Some are fiercely devoted to not using the term medical esthetician, and they don't approve of those that do. I see lots of arguments break out in these Facebook groups over this topic. So let's talk about it. There's not a medical esthetician certification that I am aware of. I know some states do have a paramedical certification program, and some schools, depending on your state and what's allowed in your state, will offer advanced classes on dermaplaning, lasers, and chemical peels. So why use the title medical esthetician? To me, it designates that you are performing more advanced procedures under a medical director or doctor. You're doing the RF microneedling, the lasers, the stronger peels, those types of services that require you to be under the supervision of a medical director or doctor. I personally have no issues with this designation or title. I think it's a great way to distinguish yourself and what type of services that you are offering to your clients. However, I've realized it's tricky because of the amount of regulations and non-regulations within our industry, and it varies state to state. We need more continuing education options, and there needs to be a standardized system in place across the country, in my opinion. The thing about that, though, is it also scares me because of what they could potentially take away from estheticians that, some are currently doing in some states. So I definitely don't want them to take treatments away from estheticians. I just wish there was a more standardized process across the states so that, we could all get the same amount of hours and the same amount of education and advanced training and have opportunities for estheticians. I think it would be amazing if we did have a standardized medical esthetician across the country that you could attend and receive a license for a more advanced program in aesthetics. This, to me, would ensure the safety for estheticians, for our clients. It would also help estheticians, I feel like, get paid what they're worth in the treatment room. And it would also hold the aesthetic schools to a higher standard of education. As of now, every state has their own set of rules for estheticians, and the hours that's required to become an esthetician are also varied pretty widely from state to state, with some states requiring 250 hours being the minimal, and then some up to 3,000 hours to be licensed in your state and take the exam. There's just such a huge gap in hours across the states required to become an esthetician. And even when offering, Botox and injections, states are all over the place. Some states you have to be a doctor or a dentist to inject, while others will allow RNs and nurse practitioners to do these services. So I guess the bottom line is what I'm telling you is to be sure that whatever services that you want to provide, whether it's, medical aesthetics or you want to be an injector, just research within your state and make sure that your state allows you to practice and see what is within the scope of that practitioner or provider. So let's talk a little bit about how to become a medical esthetician or work in medical aesthetics, the pathways to get there. Of course, you will do the traditional esthetician training. You'll find a school in your state. You'll attend the required number of hours and take the state board licensing exam. Again, as I said above, research and see what is allowed in your state, what you can and can't do, and advanced certification. So, depending on your state, some schools do offer advanced certification and medical aesthetics training in lasers, advanced chemical peels, dermaplaning. And as I discussed earlier, some do have paramedical or master's esthetician programs that you can obtain through certification programs. And if you do have the opportunity to attend a paramedical or master's esthetician program, absolutely do it. It will only help grow your knowledge and further your career in medical aesthetics. So my best advice is to you, just commit to continuing your education once or twice a year or more if you can. This is going to help keep your skills sharp, and it's going to keep you excited about working in the industry, and it's going to keep you up to date on all of the things that are constantly changing in our industry. And it'll just help you overall, I think, be a better esthetician. And the best way, I feel like, is working under medical supervision. So you will want to find employment under a doctor or a medical director to further your knowledge and your training in medical aesthetics. And if you can find a job with a plastic surgeon, a dermatology office, a med spa, this is going to allow you exposure to all of the different types of medical aesthetic treatments, for one. And it will also, they will provide you with training, on the job training, with the different services and modalities that they offer. And while you're learning and treating, you will have access to doctor on staff or your medical director to be able to ask questions. And this will be such an invaluable asset to your career in this field, to be able to gain their knowledge and be able to ask them questions about the treatments that you're performing and the clients that you're seeing. This is what will help you grow the most in the medical aesthetics field, is having that doctor or that mentor that has been there, that has done these treatments, that knows, the ins and outs of medical aesthetics, and that can guide you and lead you. Ultimately, the title to me is not as important as focusing on building your skill set, no matter what aesthetics practice you are looking to go into. Just make sure, again, that you understand your state's regulations and their requirements, that you are working within your scope of practice and doing the things that is allowed within your state. And if you can't seem to find immediate employment in the medical industry, don't get discouraged, because that might take you a minute. It did me. So look for work in, any spa to gain experience and to focus on growing your knowledge and your skin health knowledge. The more you learn and educate yourself, the better of an esthetician you are going to be. But start researching and studying places and practices that you would love to work at. Look at the procedures and services that they perform. Start doing your homework early and investing in yourself and education. If you're interested in becoming an injector, research your state laws. Again, making sure that nurses can inject in your state. And then apply for nursing school. Get your nursing license. I think having both an esthetician license and a nursing license gives you such an advantage and gives you so many opportunities to grow in the medical aesthetics industry. I think that having both can really set you up for success, especially if you know long-term that you want to be in the medical aesthetics industry. And I know you've heard my story maybe before if you've listened to the podcast, but I started out in a resort spa environment and really honed in on my skills. And then I moved over to work for a plastic surgeon. And that's really where I learned a lot of my medical aesthetic skills. And like I said, just having a plastic surgeon and a doctor that I could ask questions to and learn from was such an invaluable part of my experience and my career as a medical esthetician, and taught me so much. So if you have that opportunity, I highly recommend that route. And if you don't have that opportunity yet, it will come. Just be patient, do the work behind the scenes, and do what you need to do. Learn everything you can about skin health and about the treatments that you want to offer, and it will come in due time. My quote for you today: success seems to be connected with action. Successful people keep moving. So no matter where you are at, whether you've just started aesthetic school or you've been in the industry for a while, keep moving forward towards those goals. Action will get you closer to where you want to be. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Follow me on Instagram for more weekly tips. Share with your favorite estheticians. And I will see you back here at the same time next week.